let's talk real quick about the differences between therapy and coaching. So a therapist has to be licensed in their state. Usually involves like a master's degree or higher and passing a state exam. Proof of competency for a coach is a bit different and it's very personalized. So I'll do a video about mine later. But you have every right to ask your coach, how do you know what you know? And basically, why should I trust you? You have every right to ask that because it's going to vary. So therapists are limited to functioning in their state. So let's say you live in Maryland and you want to get online coaching from someone in Utah or Washington. They can't do it. They have to stay in state. There are some therapists that are also coaches, and that allows them to cross state lines. It's one of the things I love about coaching. So that's going to be great. We're much more flexible with that. Therapists will help you set goals. A coach can do that as well, but a therapist's goals are going to be a little bit different, if that makes sense. Generally with coaching, if you've gone to your therapist and you have a particular goal, we are honored to help you achieve those goals. Our job is to support you. Now, if you want help from a coach in setting goals, our job is generally going to be helping you think of your own goal. Does that make sense? It's like, hey, have you thought of this or thought of this? Right? It's going to be more of a brainstorming session than assigning you a goal. So therapists delve into the past, or at some point should. So how does this thing that happened in the past affect what's going on here? That can be very important to do. For myself with coaching, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to recognize the past. You can tell me about your past, but the focus is going to be on what can you do in the here and now? What skills can you gain? What education can you gain? What support do you need to empower yourself to make a change today? And hope that makes sense. So therapists usually have limited time. I worked in a place where you might have 45 minutes. Coaching, it can be a lot easier to schedule more time or more appointments. And there's generally not as much of a waiting period as for regular therapy. So therapists often do one-on-one. They can have group sessions. They can lead a standalone support group. For myself, one-on-one classes, study groups, that sort of thing, an integrated support group is what I would do. I don't feel like I would feel comfortable like running a grief support group as a coach because that can tip very easily into therapy. But we could do grief support as part of a class, right? Staying on subject. So that's my personal line there, right? And therapist can bill insurance. Coaches don't. Some states allow it. The state of Tennessee does not. Some therapists can diagnose and prescribe. I don't diagnose. I don't prescribe. Right. I will recommend taking certain questions to your doctor. Educate about different conditions. Educate about different pharmaceuticals and herbal applications and that sort of thing. But I will not prescribe or diagnose. So a therapist has to have very strict professional boundaries, and that's very appropriate. Peer support has looser boundaries, and coaching, depending on the individual coach and the topic and that sort of thing, boundaries can be a little bit looser. For example, therapist usually is not going to tell you a lot about their own personal experience. That time is yours. It's about you. Now, in peer support, we tell a bit more of our story, right? That's the whole point, is I've been through what you've been through or something similar, right? And coaching, depending on the situation, we can get even more personal or more friendly. And I love that about coaching and about peer support. All right. Going to a therapist can be very expensive, even with insurance. Coaching, it can be very expensive depending on your coach and what you want. Personally, at Mountainhurst, can't talk, Meadow House Meditations, we want to keep the cost as low as possible. And so there are some recovery education classes that are going to be $10 per class. Some will be $50 for the course. And we're going to do some free things here on TikTok. And then next year we'll have some other courses that are more expensive simply because I'm going to be spending a year developing it. So it's going to vary, but hopefully very accessible. And if you need something and you can't afford it, please contact me, right? I'll leave my DMs open. So wait times for a therapist, can be 6 months sometimes for professional therapy. Peer support, sometimes you have to wait, or maybe it's not, professional peer support might not be available in your area. Coaching is often much more accessible, and you can usually get in to see someone much sooner. So those are just some quick lists of, the differences I see between therapy and coaching. So thanks for joining me today. Bye.